In this video, we're going to go over how to paraphrase. So paraphrasing is putting the author's words into your own words. So this is kind of just the opposite of quoting. Because remember, when we quote the text, we use the author's words word for word. This time we're using the author's ideas, but we're putting it into our own words. So in order to paraphrase, the first thing you need to do is find a section of the article that supports your opinion. And for paraphrasing, it's easier to use a whole section versus just one sentence, because if you use just one sentence, you run the danger of not being able to paraphrase as well, because you only have a few words to deal with. So even though that we're putting the author's words into our own words, we still need to give credit to the text because we still are using the author's information. So we didn't come up with this information on our own. We still learned this information from the author. So once you've given credit to the text and you found the section that you're going to use, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to summarize the section. So think of the things that are the most important about the section, and after reading it and you're thinking about the things that are the most important, try to write that section down without looking at it. And that's a great way to paraphrase. A lot of times we talked about in class that authors use a lot of fluff or extra information that really is interesting. But when we're paraphrasing, our goal is to pull out only the important information and get rid of the things that aren't needed, the extra info that we really don't need. Another way to paraphrase it is to think of synonyms to replace the author's words. But our job is to replace more than just a few words, and that's where it gets tricky paraphrasing one sentence, because we want to replace just more than like one word or two words. It's better to try to reword the whole sentence or the whole section. So if we take a look at this assignment, the first thing we need to do is we need to attach the quoting the text assignment. And I'm going to show you how to do this here. However, if you need help doing this, I can help you because this is the first time we've done this. So to attach the assignment, you're going to click Open on the Paraphrasing the Text assignment. Then you're going to click on Add. You're going to click on Google Drive. And then you're going to look for the Quote the Text assignment. Now notice, for me, this is the first thing that pops up. But for you, if you've opened a few other things, you may have to scroll down a little bit and find it. So I'm going to click on the Quote the Text assignment. I'm going to click on Add, and then it's going to attach it. Notice at the top of this assignment, there are directions. So what we're doing is we are choosing a sentence starter from the top section of our interactive notebook. We're going to highlight that green. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn that quote into a paraphrase statement, and then we're going to click Turn In. So if we take a look at our quote, notice it says, according to Mary Helen Emoto Yang, neuroscientist from University of California, your brain has two attention networks. Okay, going by our directions, the first thing we need to do is we need to choose a sentence starter from our interactive notebook. Notice today we're actually working on the top part, this part right up here, because this is the part that has to do with paraphrasing. And you're going to notice the only difference with the top part is there's no page numbers. Let's just pretend I want to choose this first one, as stated in title of the text. So I need to find the title of the text, which is right here. So I'm going to put as stated. First of all, I'm going to click Enter twice. So I'm going to go right below my quote. You're going to do that in every one of yours too. Notice how this has a red back here. So that means when I start typing, it's going to be red for highlighting. I don't want that. So before I even start typing, I know I need to change this. So I'm going to click on the A. I'm also going to change it to highlight. Notice how it's checked red. I'm going to check it green because that's what we want our sentence starter to be. That's our green goal. Now I'm going to put as stated. My next job is I'm going to figure out how can I put this part in my own words. Notice there's a lot of extra information in this quote. So this really does help to put it in my own words. Also remember, we said sometimes it's better to paraphrase the entire section. So that takes me to my Windows tricks. Most people are probably used to working on a Windows computer. One trick is if you click Control F, you can find specific words in the text. So for instance, if I go back to my article and I click Control F, notice how it brings up a search box. let's pretend I want to find this sentence. So the first thing I need to do is I need to find a word that's like really unique to the article. So I think like networks, that's probably a unique word. You're not going to see that come up a lot in the article. So if I click Control F and I type in network, notice how any word that has network in it is highlighted. So I can see there's a network here, there's a network there. That's going to take me right to my sentence. And when I look at this sentence, this is the sentence that my quote came from. So it actually came from this section. So if we take a look at this section, notice how we have experts saying that we need more boredom. Okay, we have this sentence here about the neuroscientists saying that our brain has 2 attention networks. We also have this section that tells us what each network does. We have one that's talking about what's happening around you. Okay, and we have a lot of examples. Okay, and then we have the other one that helps you sort out your feelings. So if I paraphrase this, first of all, I'm ready for my paraphrasing highlight, which paraphrasing is our orange goal, so this is going to be highlighted orange. Also, remember we don't need quotes around paraphrase text because this is not the author's exact words. Let's look for information that we really don't need. We don't really need the scientist's name. We also don't really need that she's from California. The fact that she's a neuroscientist, that's good because that gives her credibility. We know that she knows what she's talking about. So we could put something like, according to a neuroscientist, the human brain has 2 networks. One helps people deal with what is around them. I'm going to go back to the article, make sure I'm right about that. Yep. And the other one helps people sort out feelings. Okay, and we could even add a little bit more to that. So let's go on the next page. And this is why we don't use page numbers in paraphrasing, because it's going to come from several different pages. Okay, this fight about what we had with our brother, baking cookies with grandma, all that's extra fluff. We don't need that. Oh, this is fluff too. Now this is not. Here's the thing, these 2 networks can't be active at the same time. If you never pause to use the interspecial part of your brain, phone's always buzzing, it'll get out of shape. And we could put something like, these parts can't be used together. Each part needs to be used to stay in shape. Notice what I did. This is our paraphrase text, and I don't expect you to write this much. I'm just trying to show you like what a really good example would look like. But here's what we did. First of all, we got a lot of extra information out. That's one thing we did. We also paraphrased the entire section that this sentence came from. And we also notice how I would read a section, look for the important information, and then I would try to remember what I read. And I did go back and I checked, especially when I started talking about the 2 networks. I checked to make sure that the information is accurate, because we want accurate information. But it's also good to try to write down what you remember, because it forces you to put it in your own words. So your job, you can use this example for number 1. But your job for number 2 is you're going to take a look at the sentence that you used, and you're going to try to paraphrase it. You're going to try to put it in your own words. Same way at number 3, you're going to take a look at the sentence that you used, you're going to put it in your own words. When you're finished, you're going to click Turn In. If you have any questions, please send me a comment on here, or you can talk to me in class.